Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Premiere Uncut. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Now, before I introduce the Google Plus and Discord servers, I'll do a very quick shout out to all of the people who support me on Patreon. So a massive shout out to Adrian Quintana, Alistair Main, Billy Highvolt, Burn Fat Till My Stomach Is As Flat As the Earth, Chow Young Cat, Dank, David Wayne Foster, Edwin Johnson, Felix Hung, Fireball X, Godrockin, Jeranism, Kirsten Smith, Life is Short, Matt, Michael, Paige, Qatar Craig, Reinhardt, Renee, Sam Hine, Skeptic936, Sweet Equity, Texas Mike, theflatearthchannel.com, and Tina Baker. Massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. As I say, we are joined by quite a few people in both Discord and Google+. So in no particular order, in Discord we have lots and lots of people, and in Google+, we have Righteous Force, Flatzoid, Chocolate Sane, Arwin, and 10th Man. We also have not Chocolate Sane, Sleeping Warrior, and Quantum Eraser on Skype. Welcome one and all.
I'm just here to call you a lying cunt.
Hello.
Don, shut up.
Wow, Don. Triggered much?
Hey, MC Meisty, I kind of want to get back to...
I added an option.
Yeah, go ahead, Arvin.
Right, so in the break, I had a moment because Nathan was muted, and so was the entire Discord panel. So I had to talk, because all the talk about the celestial north and the North Pole magnetically just made me think, like, how is it there? Okay, so the world has been gridded up through latitude, longitude, conceptually, based on the celestial locations of the heavenly bodies, orientated around the rotating nature of it. And so I wonder then, there should be a celestial North Pole of some kind where the North Pole star is exactly above you at all times. And
can I ask you a real quick question?
I'm not done yet. No.
Let him finish.
I'm not done yet. Shut up.
Hey,
Let him finish.
Hold on. You can't even prove.
let him finish.
Let him finish.
Polaris from Russia.
Wait, shut up, David. Right. So,
David, let him finish real quick.
North?
Come on. Go ahead, Darwin.
Thank you.
I'm on mute.
Look, right, shut up.
Is
ahead,
the
Darwin.
celestial north, is it a point, as well a lot of flat earth discourse would assume, that the celestial North Pole is exactly where the star is, should be exactly in the middle, right?
Mhm.
But it could also be a line, a straight line, where this point just stays above you. Or it could even turn out to be a circle, that you're moving in a circle, the North Pole star will be right above you, and that you could actually move even further north. And that the celestial north would basically, the exact middle point, assuming that that would be the outcome, would not be the celestial North Pole. There could be more space there. That's what I'm saying. And it would work out with the celestial workings and how the grid has all been determined. But it could, the celestial north could be all kinds of things. It could be a point, it could be at the exact middle, but it could also turn out to be a straight line, which would coincide with a rectangular looping concept. And it could, at the most confusing, it would be an arc, which would be a basic incomplete looping circle. So yeah, that was it. Just thinking.
Okay, so
That
my
is-
question.
that
Can we
is
spend
pretty
some
interesting.
time on voluntary drug analysis?
Arwen, do you think you can see Polaris from Russia? Do you think you can see Polaris from Russia?
It's called inspiration. I conceptualize a lot about the heavenly bodies and the data we have. And there is just maneuvering room because so much we trust is based on presuppositions that make things complete to us in our mind. So there could just simply be missing parts we're overlooking, and this could be one of them. There could be more space to the north, and that
In your
Well,
conception,
okay,
Arwen.
so-
In your conception, Arwen, does
Well,
it have to
who's
be
ever tested it? You know,
Arwen?
Arwen, do you think you can see Polaris from Russia?
I think so. Yeah, sure, of course. You could see it from even beyond the equator. So
Realize that with Russia being north of the United States, right? If I go out
Hold
of
on,
Chicago
Anthony,
and
can
go
you mute?
north, I should
Thanks.
fly over the Arctic Ocean and land in Russia. Do you know that there's no proof that you can even physically see Polaris from Russia? Do you realize that? If you try to research Polaris from Russia, the only thing that'll come up in Google search is the Polaris bar, the North Star bar. That's it. There is no proof you can even see Polaris from Russia.
So is
When
it
is-
just blinked out, or is it angle-wise out of sight? How would you explain that?
When does the Polaris
Well, it-
bar happy hour start?
Hold on. What's your point, David?
Well, the point is that the maps, you can't trust any of the maps. All you have to, it's just like where Russia is west of Alaska. There is no, do you realize that no person has traveled around the world that direction in over 300 years? That there is no proof that Russia is even 60 miles from Alaska, and that you can go through Russia around. That you can go through
have
Russia.
things that refute that
You
claim.
understand
Sorry.
that?
No,
Can we
that's not
spend a
Just
few minutes
brought up
talking
a-
about
a
alcohol
map.
abuse?
You just brought up a map.
John, you picked the
about a
wrong day to quit
company. You
drinking.
said there was a map, and now you're saying not to trust them.
Well,
You know how
Pick the one day that's-
everybody
I'm gonna
believes
keep
that you
my
can
beers
just
in the
go from
fridge for
Alaska
a
60
couple
miles
hours
and go into Russia and go through Russia all the way back around to Europe. Do you know that there is no way to prove this? That there's no way to prove that anybody has ever done it. The last person that did it supposedly was Howard Hughes when he did a world record tour around the top of the ball, and that's the last time anybody's went through Russia. Do you understand they have that all shut down? This is all about communism. The
What
communists have
ball?
that whole part of the world shut down, and you're not going to find out
stop,
what the maps are.
stop.
You're not going to find out what the map of the world
Dude,
is. That's the
slow
communist.
down. Slow
You're
down.
convoluting
Like-
the entire thing into La La Land. This is going nowhere. David.
Listen, okay, so there have been things changed, like the Mercator map. You know, there have been maps that have changed, but you brought up a map, and now you're saying not to trust maps. You brought up a map before that says where the compasses don't work.
If you'll notice that every map is always split in half. The international date line goes through right between the Bering Strait, right? There is no proof that if you go from Alaska into Russia that you can go back around to Europe. There is no proof. You cannot prove this to yourself that this can physically be done by anybody.
You mean bypass the north of Russia? Is that what you mean?
You cannot go from
Go
west
through the Bering Sea? That has been very difficult.
You're not letting him
That
answer,
is
are
really
we?
good. It's usually all frozen up.
You're not letting him answer. Go ahead, David. So,
In over 100 years, you cannot find one proof of any civilian traveling from Alaska around through Russia back around to Europe.
you're having a
There is-
laugh, right?
Because
Well,
In
who's
the-
that? Who's that woman?
No
That
verification that Russia is west of Alaska.
you can see it. You can see Russia. What are you talking about?
Well, you can see an island, and if you pass that island, the Russians pick you up.
So you can see it. This is preposterous.
So that means
yeah, you got it right.
Wow.
The Russians, they pick you up because Russia is there.
This is nonsense.
Dallas,
Oh
you
my
can't
God.
be talking about that stuff and claim it and not have substantiation of it. That's ridiculous.
America is the only free country in the world. Every other country
Quick,
is
red
either an
herring.
oligarchy, a communist, or socialist
Change
state.
the subject.
Socialist
Quick.
country program their people to
That is
believe
highly-
and tell them what
God.
they want to believe.
David
They only
Dallas,
allow
if the
them to do
Russians
it.
pick
This sounds
you up,
more like
the
paranoia
Russians are
until
there.
you can substantiate it.
Yeah,
David Dallas,
Dallas,
if the
if
Russians
there is
pick you
that
up, the
cover up
Russians are
and there
there.
is more land, fucking go after it and bring it up, dude.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Righteous Force, Flatzoid, Arwin, and Chocolate Sane, and 10th Man in Google+. How you all doing?
Good.
Good afternoon.
Good morning.
Hello. Good afternoon.
We've also got Sleeping Warrior and Quantum Eraser on Skype. Very good to have you.
Yes, can we spend some time or devote some time to snorting shrooms and chasing it with Grandpa's cough medicine? When we get a chance. Thanks.
We're also joined.
Been there,
just
done
QE
that.
or whatever.
It's in the past.
I
QE.
just want to know.
Don't equate that stuff with people talking about information like that. I mean, have you ever done that before?
Don't remind me. Those were the days.
Those were the days.
I want.
What time is it?
Listen.
Is
I
that what
just
you're
wanna-
equating us to, QE? Come on.
Hang on. Let me get this out. This is too good. I just want to know where the longitude, latitude lines are for the Polaris bar, where I could get black and white Russians at half price.
Oh my God.
That'd be great. Hey, wait.
I don't want to hear it, right? Look, about these black and white Russians. Human trafficking is a very serious issue.
What? What? What are we talking about here?
So let's do some housekeeping.
Arwin, you're the best when you don't get a joke.
Right.
Like, what? What's
Those
going
watching
on?
live, right?
Apparently, Arwen's not a golfer.
No, I am not.
Look at that.
I don't have the proper fancy pants for that.
Out to Aaron Benjamin. Anyway, you'll have to tune into Nathan Oakley show. This will go out on Thursday if you're watching live to make sense of any of this, because it'll all be in the pre-show. Anyway, any signs of Earth curvature? Hopefully we'll get through the housekeeping questions.
Yeah,
this time around.
you can Google that.
Oh,
Not on
what
Earth.
is this going on?
Oh, goody.
Hold on. Why is this going on?
Don, shut up.
Well, no, this is
You can
going out
Google
live.
Earth curvature. Yeah, it's all there.
Live. This is live. We are live, just so you know.
This
Shut
ain't
up,
going
Don.
out Thursday.
Yeah, the pre-show
Hey,
and after show will go out
I got
Thursday.
a question for Don.
done-
Is that a theoretical
I'm not doing what Don
explanation?
said. I'm actually gonna Google
Oh, my God.
Tell it. Hold on, I've got two
Yeah.
people trying to answer.
have-
I'm trying to get Earth curve. Dawn's going on as well. What? Any signs of Earth curvature?
Dawn said we got all the Earth curve.
There's
Dawn's got that.
Don's claim seems about as realistic as your claims about the Russians.
Calculator.
Just
one
given
in the
that it's
Discord
just something he's
chat.
read on the
Wow.
internet.
Man, I
Wait a
Discord
second,
chat
everyone talk at once. Ready? One,
No.
2, 3, go!
Right, just Dawn. Go ahead, Dawn. Are you trying to get through an Earth curve evidence?
No, I'm just saying it's there if you want it. There's a picture on Discord now. There's some on YouTube. There's some on Google. You can read Wikipedia. You can actually become a scientist and do obstruction experiments. All the evidence is there. Yeah, we have it.
Obstruction
That's the
experiments.
calculator.
Hold on.
That
I heard
excludes perspective.
All right, I heard obstruction experiments.
The answer is yes. Evidence for Earth curvature is all there if you want to look
Yeah,
for it.
cool. Yeah, I heard you. And the end
Next.
bit was obstruction experiments.
Next.
What's the problem here? Is it the case that you're so used to just
We're moving on to
spewing
number two. We're
out
moving on to the second housekeeping question, 'cause
fundamentally
number two is a
salutary
yes.
that when it's challenged or asked for any supporting cowbell, that you immediately rumpus me even asking you to back your claim? I heard the
Okay,
words.
there's one photo in Discord. My
I
claim is the one
heard
photo
the
in
words obstruction experiment, Dawn. Can we have a reasonable conversation about the words you just said or not?
It won't be reasonable. No, we could try though.
Let's have a
I
try.
think I made fun of some of Don's proof.
We're asking
presenting
for
it.
evidence of Earth curve. I've heard
Yeah.
the words
Okay.
obstruction experiment. This sounds scientific. Excellent. Best news I've had all day. Some scientific evidence of Earth curve from Dawn. Tell us all about
Okay.
it, please.
So you get a camera on a tripod, nice and steady, near the ground. You point it at the horizon and wait for something to go behind the horizon or appear as it's going behind the horizon. Then you take measurements. You do that again on another beach, watch something else. You do it with celestial objects. Then you compare them all, and then you do little experiments at home on tables with stuff in your garden with DVD cases, whatever that thing you did was, that silly thing.
my God.
Let me know when you're done, Dawn.
You collect all this evidence, and then you apply the variables if you really want to do the full scientific method, Nathan.
Yes,
QE
please.
style.
Yes. Yes. What are they?
And then
The variables.
you come out with the blatant evidence that everything gets obstructed when it goes
yes.
behind the horizon.
Okay, excellent. We've got the full shebango, including conclusion. So what were those variables, Dawn?
You can look into that if you want. That's part of the science.
It's your
isn't it,
claim.
obviously? I'm not here.
It's your
I'm not here
claim.
to teach you
This is
science.
your claim.
No, my claim was yes, there is evidence for Earth curvature all over the internet.
Yeah, surprisingly, Dawn. Yeah, I can claim there's unicorns and then just go, no, let's move on. Yes, there is. And
Yeah, but
just
that would
never
make you
back
silly,
my claim.
wouldn't it?
Dawn,
Claim.
I'm talking now. That means shut up. Not talk through every word I say. Not disrupt the end of my point. But shut up. So, Dawn, I can just make an overt claim that I don't back with any cowbell and say that unicorns are real. And when asked or put to task in terms of backing that nonsense, I just talk through you asking me and then say, yes, there is proof of unicorns because I said yes when asked, which is what you've just
Okay,
done.
do you want?
I still
do you
haven't
wanna see
finished
my
talking,
cowbell?
Dawn. I still haven't finished.
You did. You made
still
a massive
haven't
gap
finished,
between
Dawn.
words.
Last chance, and then you're no longer welcome because you clearly can't have a normal conversation. So now I'm asking you for your cowbell based on your assertion, your positive assertion that you do have evidence of Earth curve. You said obstruction experiments. Then you mentioned that if you wanted to put it through the scientific method and do it properly, you could apply the variables. Then you made your conclusion that that proves Earth curve. So now we'd like to not just dance past the bit where you say you've got empirical validity because of an adherence to the method. We'd like to know what the variables are, please.
Evidence, not proof.
That's
the
not
variables
an answer to my question.
are height,
Height's not a variable.
weather,
Height,
and distance.
height is what? Your independent or dependent variable, Dawn? Because height's not
I
a
don't know
phenomena,
about
it's
all
also
that.
not the
Dude, I
cause of
don't care
anything.
about any of that. The variables are height, distance, and weather.
Listen to what I say in reply. Height is not a phenomena, nor is it the cause of an effect. So it's neither...
one of the variables,
Dawn, I haven't
isn't it?
finished talking again. It is neither an independent nor it is a dependent variable. So no, if you're saying this is science, then no, height is not a variable.
Oh, I'm going to roll it back because you're too fussy about the method.
Too fussy? What about the empirical method of science used to back one's assertion with empiricism? Yes, I'm very fussy about that, Dawn. Unfortunately, we have pretender clowns in our midst, and they like to assert that they have this empirical methodology adhered to prove their fundamentalist religious belief in spheres that we live on. Now, that's unfortunate for the person making the claim, in this instance you, when asked or put to challenge to actually prove that they have scientific validity for their bullshit assertions, when in fact they don't, and probably don't even know what the words mean. That would be you in this instance, Dawn.
Okay, so I'm going to...
Not okay. Don't be a pretender clown muppet here. Don't tell us you've got science when clearly we're going to put you to task on it and prove that you haven't.
talk too. You can't just
You're
talk
being a
over me
pretender
every time.
clown.
A pretender clown?
Yeah, pretending you know what the hell you're on about when you say you've got scientific evidence of something and you don't even have any of the ideas that you would require to formulate this into some sort of science. You haven't got those things. You don't have any scientific acumen whatsoever, but yet you're here telling us that you've got it. You're a pretender clown.
I have observations of obstruction.
We've asked for scientific evidence because of your use of the word experiment. Obstruction experiment, you say. You don't have that, Dawn. You're just using words you don't understand because you are a pretender clown. Pretender clown. Someone pretending to know what they're talking about when they don't? You. in this instance.
I don't have to stick to your method, dude.
It's not my method. It's the scientific method. Not Nathan's method, not Quantum Eraser's method. It's the scientific method. And if you're in the context of science and claiming you've got an experiment, then you better have a hypothesis to test. You haven't got that. You don't have independent and dependent variables. You've got height, not a variable in this instance. So you're a pretender clown.
Except it's all there. All the evidence still. Whatever you say.
It's not scientific evidence. Aren't you listening? You used the word experiment, meaning you're contextualizing your evidence as scientific. But you don't have that, pretender.
An observation. That's all it is.
Well, it's not scientific evidence then, is it? As you asserted when you used the word experiment. Not scientific.
Evidence. Yeah, it is scientific evidence.
No, it's not. You don't know what that word means. Now I'm done with you, Dawn, because you're not conceding you're a pretender clown retard, which you are in this instance. So sod off, come back tomorrow when you can concede that you don't know what you're on about, which you don't. This is absolutely not scientific evidence of anything.
Nathan, if I may for a moment, I have a technical issue to report.
Oh no.
The chat you are showing is from the previous Hangout, not
What?
the one going on.
The chat. Oh, well done. Well informed. Good. Thank you, Arwin.
No problem.
Any signs of axial rotation?
Can I say? Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. If it's about Earth curve, definitely.
No.
I was going to say something. If I could say something to Dawn for a moment, if he's there.
Kicked him out.
He isn't.
No, if he's still there.
He is not.
You want me to take him?
It's just about his photograph. That's...
Give me a minute. Still here.
Okay.
I don't think he's still here, is he? No, he's not here. Sorry. Evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
No.
No.
Evidence of an axis?
Nope.
Axial rotation.
Oh, all right. I might need to start there first.
Oh, I see. Yeah. We don't have any evidence of an axis, let alone axial rotation. No, that's quite right. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
No, definitely.
No. Maybe RC Mice can still give us.
RC Meisty?
Nope.
Clearly not.
He's not in there anymore.
Any evidence for the distance of the sun?
Had that already.
Oh, sorry.
Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon?
Nope.
Nope.
No way.
The evidence of the R value, Earth radius?
I still kind of wanted to show this ridiculous thing.
They are been on here.
There are been on. What's that ridiculous evidence, Arwin?
Yeah, it's what yielded the Google search when I looked for Earth curvature based on Dom's thing. And I found this, the Teacher's Guide to the Universe, activity measuring the Earth's curvature. And it's basically a little bit more sophisticated to do the sticks in the ground trick and assume R and all that. And they have it all with math backed up. Here, look at this.
You zoom in a bit.
To the horizon is...
Yeah, that could work just as easily on a plane.
It's too bad the teachers don't tell their kids that.
Right. But that's what I found. It's
be
all
honest,
math R-based.
More garbage. More garbage. Yep. Look at those lines.
Well,
on
they'd
top
be
of the globe.
fired though. You realize that, right?
First thing that popped up after I saw like 3 curvature calculators in the Google search results. So they really like to put those curvature calculators on top, not some actual like scientific reference.
Get the name right.
Arvin, scroll up to the pictures of the globe. Yeah, right there.
Perspective hijacking.
Right.
It's the right
Hey,
name.
Arvin.
The begging a question, perspective hijacking curve calculator.
That's the one.
Arvin, you see something wrong with this picture? With the sun and the sticks?
Yeah. Well, the Earth doesn't really look that healthy either. So
No. How in the world can the sun cast a shadow in a well or a stick when it's aiming towards the sky from the angle?
well, that's not the problem of this explanation. They
Do you
just
want the
don't
answer?
think about that.
Do you want the answer, 10th man?
It's just here to teach you the trick of presupposing it.
Yeah, but it
No, I
doesn't
know,
actually-
but
do you want the answer?
yeah, go ahead.
Celestial refraction in their model.
What's the question about?
About the depiction. You can't see it, unfortunately. If you go to the live stream.
No, I can. I'm looking at it.
Go ahead, Arwin. Explain the problem.
Oh, it was me, actually.
Oh, sorry, 10th man.
Well, based on this and those two sticks and where the sun is in relationship, it's coming from below and aiming upwards. Let's assume the North Pole, for example. So how in the world can it cast a shadow on the Earth if the light's hitting the stick and in front of the stick is just sky? The sun would have to be above it or to the side to cast a shadow. It's below it. It can't cast a shadow in the air, can it?
Oh, but if it's slightly
10 man.
Hold on.
It could on the
Sorry, Nate.
clouds, maybe?
It has to be slightly looming then, doesn't it? I'm being serious. You're saying the sun would need, if you were to take this out of Muppet vision and put it from your perspective, the sun would need to be higher above the horizon, correct? That's what your point is.
Yeah, equal or higher.
Right, and I've already given you the globehead answer. Celestial refraction. It's a looming sun. Right? It's just the same old bullshit with the terrestrial celestial observations as it is with the terrestrial. They just use the same bullshit. It's just a hologram of the sun being projected up from behind Earth's curve. That's what they'd argue.
It's the flatifying effect. It's this mysterious optical phenomena that makes the globe look perfectly like a flat plane. Right?
Looming?
That's what...
10th man. Sorry.
Yeah.
Did you say flatifying effect?
Yeah, good word. Good word.
I like that. Flatifying.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
Are you wondering how it's possible to have the sun make a shadow?
No.
At noon. Is that what you're asking?
No, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking if...
Okay, what were you asking?
Well, do you see the picture?
A second now. I don't, because I'm just on the Discord. I only have a Discord app open. I can't open the app.
Yeah, if you want to see it on live stream, you'll have to go to Nathan Oakley channel.
Well, let me see if I can describe it.
I'll let it go then.
No worries.
Well,
thanks. Is there any more points? Any more for any more?
Well, not on this, but I do want to say something about R.C. Meisty's statement about reliable predictability, if I may.
You may, but can you contextualize it? So we're talking about maps and their predictability in terms of duration of travel, correct? Is that concise enough?
Well, I was trying to get him to define reliable predictability when he was talking about it, because why don't they use that with the circumference of the Earth in 8 inches per mile square then? Because can't that be reliably predicted that every mile is 8 inches per mile square of fall away?
I don't think that it uses that formula here, but I did find another snippet detail.
No, Arwin, you're missing my point.
They're not measuring the circumference of the Earth. They're
saying it's predictable and it's reliable, except it doesn't work. So he wants to say it from his point of view on the map. But then when I asked what I wanted to ask him was, let's take your reliable predictability for maps and apply to a known number that your side of the argument says it's there. It's predictable. If the Earth's a sphere, it's got an R value and it's predictable, but we never see it. Where's the reliability then?
Didn't that come after Nathan asked him if magnetic north is an absolute direction? Isn't that why he went to that?
Right, he was referring to declination. But I think whoever was talking is saying he wants to apply this to a different value.
Yes, because if he's going to say I have reliable predictability for my beliefs, then I want him to show that with 8 inches per mile square, and he can't.
8 inches per mile squared isn't the calculation, though, man.
Oh, what is it then?
Is there a new updated calculation we don't know about?
Hold on,
Mr. Meisty?
Hold on.
8 inches per mile squared was published in the 1880s by some guy who believed in the flat Earth. That's never been used in the scientific community to predict Earth curve ever.
Sorry, that's not correct. That's not correct.
Is the curvature calculator? All it is a camera calculator, isn't it? It'll just tell you whatever the resolution of a camera is exactly the numbers that are in a curvature calculator.
No, that's not correct.
No, that's not correct either. No.
If you'll ever notice, the curvature calculator measures exactly what you see out of a camera. You notice that?
Yeah, but you and R.C. Meisty are wrong. It comes from Pythagoras. Pythagoras came up with that. Somebody years ago was a flat earther, and not little cameras.
No, 8 inches per mile squared. 8 inches per mile squared is like it's conceivable that it's from a parabola.
Pythagoras.
Pythagoras theorem.
That's from a parabola.
It's the Pythagoras theorem.
Pythagoras. 8 inches per mile squared comes from Pythagoras.
Hold on, Flatzoid. Go ahead, Brian.
It does not come from
hold on a second, RC. Go
Pythagoras.
ahead,
That's where it comes from. Do your research. Right then, take Pythagoras' maths and go backwards with it.
That's not Pythagoras' math. That's for a parabola. Not for
Pythagoras. It comes from Pythagoras.
It does not come from Pythagoras.
Right. Okay then.
If you would like to show me the work from Pythagoras,
what one comes from Pythagoras? What one comes from Pythagoras?
Then show me the citation.
One on Pythagoras' maths. What one comes from his?
Right, but I mean, anybody can use the Pythagorean theorem. That doesn't mean that the result came from Pythagoras. It just means somebody used his theorem to do it, and the person who actually used it should be the one whose name is attached to it, not Pythagoras.
We live in 2019. They say the Earth is 24,904 miles in circumference. I mean, we can't break it down to get 8 inches per mile square. Is that what you're saying?
8 inches per mile squared is for a parabola, not for a sphere.
Oh, so we're not on a sphere.
I'll tell you why a curve equation doesn't work. Because we don't live on a curved surface.
Okay, so can I just ask you a quick question? So the actual mathematics for the actual curve then, would they be more of a curve than 8 inches per mile squared, or less of a curve than 8 inches per mile squared?
That's really not a relevant question because...
Oh, really? I'll tell you then, because it is relevant. It's more. It would be a more pronounced curve if you did the actual mathematics. Let's not even get into terrestrial refraction and how that unbends it. But ultimately speaking, the actual Earth curvature would be more severe than 8 inches per mile squared. I would be surprised why you'd say that's not relevant, as it's you that pointed it out that it's not the actual mathematics. Surprising that I know the actual mathematics and they're more severe of a curve.
Yeah. But I'm just saying...
Sorry, was that mumble? Yes, as in, yes, Nathan, that's absolutely correct. The curve that we're being told that we should measure or see is less curved than the Earth actually is.
Right, Nathan. You are right.
That's a problem, though, isn't it?
No. That Nathan's right about something? No.
Oh, it's not a problem that the Earth should be more curved than you actually think it is? That's not a problem?
Well,
when you're the one sitting here saying the math is wrong?
It should be more curved than I think it is.
That's
people don't say that the Earth is curved at exactly 8 inches per mile squared. That's an approximate.
Okay, so what's the point?
It should be more, but we don't see any. We just see the effects of perspective.
Okay, that's your claim, Nathan, but that's...
Not my claim. Perspective's real. Yeah? It's not included in the curve mathematics, and it's absolutely included in every single picture, video, and every single view from every eyeball ever opened. Not my claim. A fact. Perspective is real.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not included in the curve mathematics though, isn't it?
Why would it need to be?
I'll say it again. I'll get really close to the mic while I say it. Perspective is real. It is included in every photograph, video recording, and taken into account by every single eyeball with vision capabilities that has ever been opened. So, more importantly would be, why wouldn't something that is always in effect whenever looking at anything, why wouldn't it be included in a mathematical calculation for things we see? I.e. the curve caths, which hijack perspective, remove them completely, and claim the less severe effects of the curvature of a globe is negated by reifying an R value, and then excluding this effect, which you're asking me why it would be included when it's always in effect. In this picture now on screen, that's got perspective. In any picture you ever present or run through the mathematics of the curve calculator will also include perspective. So why wouldn't it be included?
Well, why, Nathan, explain to me what you mean by perspective.
You having a laugh? This is taught to children.
No, I'm not, no. But
Do you not know what perspective is? Are you stupid?
Perspective. No, I'm asking you.
Objects converging
Nathan
in the
Oakley,
distance.
Tell me.
Things
what
getting
are the
smaller with
mathematics
distance. I'm trying to tell you
behind
now.
your
You're
word
just talking
perspective?
through me. I'm trying to educate
No,
a
you're talking
retard
over me.
about things becoming perceivably smaller into the distance. So, for example,
Okay.
this boat on screen now seems pretty small. It's not. That's just an effect of perspective. It seeming small because it's far away. Now, I reminisce about an episode of Father Ted, where Father Ted has to explain perspective to the, let's call it what it is, the retard in the show called Dougal. And he has to hold up a little toy cow and say, this cow is small. And then he looks out the window at a real cow and says, that cow is far away. So my question is, are you as stupid as the person depicted on Channel 4's Father Ted and don't understand what perspective is? Clearly so. So, given that I've now detailed what perspective is using a toy cow and a real cow at given distances, do you think it's reasonable to exclude this always in effect fact of life called perspective from your curve calculation?
Nathan, I ask you to use, if we're going to use it in a mathematical calculator like you.
Oh, you don't? If we're going to, no, you don't. Maybe you're missing the point here. If we're going to, you're not going to. You're going to use calculations that exclude it.
So I'm not going to use it.
He's asking if you were to include it, how would we do that? What's the maths behind it?
I couldn't give a crap. I don't reify a sphere and then mathematically calculate how much should or shouldn't be seen based on a removal of perspective. That's not my problem now, is it? So how would it be included when you reify a sphere? I couldn't care less. I'm asking why it isn't. To you, the guy who's got this reified sphere model.
Then show me what the perspective calculator is so that we can explain what we're looking at.
Oh, why? Why? We're not using mathematics to tell people they live on a sphere. The curve maths do that. I haven't got some mathematics that I'm punting as proof of a sphere now, have I?
No, Nathan, but you're making a claim and you have no mathematics as of yet to back it up.
I'm not making a claim. I'm pointing out that the mathematics you, the fundamentalist religious zealot who believes he's on a sphere, you use to claim that what we see in a picture, which does include perspective, is what we should see on a sphere when we exclude perspective.
No, Nathan.
Yes. That's precisely what the begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking curve calculations do. They take the effect of perspective and they call it Earth curvature.
I'm asking you to show me then mathematically how we represent that.
I couldn't give a crap. I'm not representing it. It's being misrepresented by curve calculations. So asking me to provide a just so story in the face of your just so story with these mathematics that exclude perspective is not reasonable. I don't need to provide you an alternative to point out that the begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking curve calculations do not include perspective because they are taking the effects of perspective and calling them Earth curve. Me providing an alternative is not part of this discussion.
You're saying, though, Nathan, I don't have to provide evidence for my claim.
My claim is that the curve maths have hijacked perspective, because they have. And the reason they have is because they don't include them, but are claiming to describe what you see. And what you see will always include perspective. That is my claim and my support for my claim.
Okay, I invite you to click the link I posted in the live stream chat, move the distance dial back and forth, and see the size of that item change, and then claim again that perspective isn't taken into account.
Sorry, who is that addressed to?
Emerald. Or to Nathan.
So I'm completely confused now. Should I be looking at something?
Yeah, I put a link in the live stream chat. It's the Bislin's Earth curve calculator. And the point is, when you move the distance, the target distance, the size of the object changes. That sure looks like perspective being taken into account for me.
Oh, right. Maybe you can show me where that is in the mathematics.
Sure.
Go on
And
then.
in fact, even if you take a side view of any geometric sort of like
Sorry, a side
layout
view
of the
wouldn't
scene,
include... I don't need this segue. You said in the mathematics, there is the
I'm going
perspective.
to tell you how the math takes it into account.
Sorry, do you want to show
If
me
you have an
that then?
object that's a height h, and it's twice as far away, then that angle that it forms from the bottom to the top of that object is going to be smaller. So when you try to draw that angle, it's going to be smaller.
Okay, and
It's
can you
just
show me
it's taken
that?
into account purely by the geometry.
Sorry, can you show me that?
He wants
being
you to
done
show that.
in the calculations, please.
I'll try to make a drawing if I can. No problem.
Emerald.
Art ability. Yeah.
Emerald, you know the water Bislin calculator? You know the one that looks most like reality, the one you're talking about, where you move the object away and it seems to get smaller, like angular size change. That's what you're talking about, Jess?
Yeah.
You know underneath that, you know all the little blue lines that make it look like it's curved?
Yeah.
Yeah. When you take them away, is that a straight line? The horizon line there.
When you take them away, is that a straight line, the horizon line?
Sorry,
Yeah, get rid of all the blue lines.
I don't want to
and
do
look
this.
at the black
Sorry,
horizon.
Sorry, how it's represented in the
dead
model, I'm not too concerned about. What I'd like to see is this angular size reduction being demonstrated as calculated in the curve maths. I'd like to see that, please. Once you've shown it me, once it's been demonstrated that the angular size reduction is now accounted for in Walter Bislin's calculator, I'll contact Mick West and ask about the contradiction. Of course, I already appreciate that it's not included in Walter Bislin's calculator, but I'm challenging this man to show it me. Go ahead.
Okay. My question is, though, if it isn't accounted for...
I don't want to hear your question. You've just claimed that perspective is included in Walter Bislin's calculator. Now I want you to show me...
Yes.
Shut up.
I'm saying it's evident by the fact that the object changes
Shut up!
size when it moves.
Shut up! You have just claimed that the angular size reduction is included in Walter Bislin's calculator. Show me that now. While he's doing that, I will reiterate that it is not included in the calculations.
Is he looking?
Don't know.
I know.
Well,
Find
he
the
can at least
JavaScript
tell
source.
us.
Is this the d equals 2 pi dA over d or something? What is the equation, the angular size
No,
equation?
I think it's arccan, I think times size over distance or something like that.
Okay, I thought it was d what is it? D equals 2 pi dA over 360.
No, it includes it in the description of the angular size.
Anyway, we're waiting to see this being processed in the curve maths.
I just wanted to throw a shout out to Spurs. Good job on the no pressure tool. I look forward to more information on this.
Really?
Do not commend Spurs ever.
You mean the video Spurs got fooled by mesh?
I got to go to work in a minute, but I got one question.
Are we moving on from this? Can I concisely?
Yes, let's move on.
Can I? Yeah,
David,
no worries.
come on, David.
I'll make the conclusion for the third time. Angular size reduction at distance is absolutely not included in the Earth curve calculations. That is incorrect. The man who asserted it is simply wrong.
Is this the same
You know what
Walter
is included
Bislin?
though? I'm begging to question R value. Where the hell they got that from?
I should have waited. I knew
wonder.
it was coming, Chocolate.
Go ahead.
Oh my god.
Go ahead, Quantum Eraser. Go ahead.
Is this the same Walter Bislin that deletes entire threads when he gets compromised? Is that the same person we're talking about?
I don't know. Maybe you could remind me. It could be the same person.
Is it Walter Bislin?
Yes, Walter Bislin is the man. I'm not sure about this deleting thread things. I'm not sure. Maybe.
Yeah, he likes to delete threads. I caught him on Taboo Conspiracy. Just lucky, I guess. I popped on to one of Taboo Conspiracy's videos, and Walter Bislin had just posted, 2 minutes ago, right? So I wrote a post to him, compromising his dumb ass because he couldn't answer any questions. He wouldn't know what science was if it landed on his face, spun around, and whistled Dixie. I already knew that, but I figured I'd give him a chance, give him a go at it. And so I posted it. A couple other people posted after me, commenting on my post, saying, okay, we're going to wait. I went to dinner, came back. I had the notifications of the other people still in the YouTube, what do they call that? In the notification thread. So I hit it, and it didn't take me anywhere. I said, what the hell is going on here? So I went back to the original video, and Walter deleted the whole thread. What outstanding moral and ethical character right there, boy. Intellectual honesty at its best. Clown.
Damn, John, what'd you say to him?
What did I say to him?
Yeah.
Post a single hypothesis regarding anything. That's what I said.
Really? That's it?
That's all it took.
All right.
That's all it takes with these clowns. Any evidence of globe-tard pretended clown liars? Any evidence of that? We ought to add that to the friggin' housekeeping.
All over the place.
Yeah, that's a definite.
The cause of anything
some of them are just
should be something.
Some of them are just passionate.
scientifically.
Some of them just really love the heliocentric model. We have to remember that. They're obsessed with it.
What is this claim that you got a scroll bar that makes things smaller and larger? Is that your proof of Earth curvature? Have you considered voluntary? Oh my god!
Oh my god! Anthony's got something to say. Clearly,
Anthony, go on mute.
Oh, he might have something to say. That might be why he's come off mute.
What the
Or he accidentally got off mute while he was walking.
Okie dokie.
Right.
That was excellent.
That was lovely. Thank you. Thank you for your input.
Can I just say something about the water Bisling calculator?
Why?
Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
If you don't mind.
Yes, I
Thanks.
don't mind. Go ahead.
The reason I mentioned the reason I mentioned the blue lines to emerald is that if you look at the actual thing, the blue lines that are underneath the actual horizon in what he's talking about are just made to look like a curve. So the thing doesn't still actually curve. There's actually no curve on the horizon. It was made to look like a curve. Take away the blue lines, even just put something in front of them. It's just straight horizon. So even as a projection, it's not. It doesn't curve. It's only just makes visually look like it is.
I see.
It's a model.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, if you do the FE version, it literally the object just becomes smaller, no matter how far away you do it. There's no perspective. That's just ridiculous.
No.
Wait.
There's no diffraction limit. It's not. Hold on. I just want to get this correction in. If it's just getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller to infinity, but it's still there, then that's just excluding the diffraction limit, the point where things become too small to see.
Exactly. That's what I meant. It excludes that part of perspective.
Right. Well, I didn't know. I've never really studied or really even looked at Walter Bislin's calculator, if I'm honest. I just know that it won't include perspective. So without even looking at it, I know that's the case on account of the fact that the calculations are set in stone. You can't have Walter Bislin's calculator including perspective and Mick West's excluding perspective because they've got to match up. So they both do exactly the same thing. We established that when... This has got to be 2 years ago when Walter Bislin's calculator first came out, which is probably the only time I ever looked at it, took a cursory glance, realised there wasn't any angular size reduction in it, and then moved on. Because you don't need to know anything else other than it's got to match everyone else's calculator. They can't be contradicting each other. They do the same thing. It is based on taking you out of perspective view, putting you into Muppet vision. They're both the same. The fact there's a little depiction next to it showing things happening is irrelevant of how the mathematics work. Of course. Doesn't make any difference. The mathematics still put you in Muppet vision so you can see the side of your own head. And was that Righteous Force just talking in regards to things not disappearing? Well, that's what happens in the distance. With perspective, things disappear eventually. Well, that effect of things disappearing in the distance is what they call Earth curve. That's why it's the perspective hijacking curve calculations.
But it's not the full
I was saying that
ballpark.
because I literally just used it just now. And I was like, what? Like, no, things that's ridiculous. It just gets smaller and smaller and smaller, but it's still there. I'm like, that's not a thing. 3,000 meters away that's not going to happen.
Well, in Muppet vision, if I draw on the left-hand side of a piece of paper a man, and on the right-hand side I draw a building, and in terms of the way it looks on the page, I make the building 10 times bigger than the man, and then draw a line from left to right, and write on it 1 million miles. Does it matter? They're both in the frame still, right? What if I put 10 million miles on that number? Well, it's still there, right? Yeah. Well, Muppet Vision's very useful. The whole point of putting it in an orthographic view is to remove perspective. Doesn't matter what the distance is. It's still there. One's on the left, one's on the right. Just increase the scale, increase the number. You can still draw a line between point A and point B. Well, yeah, as soon as you put it in perspective view, things reach the angular size resolution limit of the camera or your eye or whatever you're using, telescope. You know, that's the diffraction limit. And when you reach the diffraction limit, it disappears.
Yeah, but it's enough to fool the baltards, right?
Not the what?
Right? It's enough to fool the baltards. What he does, it's just Mick West calculator with a scroll button that brings things closer and further away. And then they say, we account for perspective.
Well, and remember, these guys account for
freaking clowns. I'll tell you what.
Remember
if people can't realize this. Go ahead, overtalk me. Everyone always does anyway. That's why I got my own channel. I'm gonna do a shameless plug today. 8 p.m. UK, 2 p.m.
John, I'm on mute.
Hey,
John, just to let you know, I'm on mute.
I'm on mute.
I'll tell you what. I'm gonna go in there.
See,
I'm not.
My shameless plug just gone because everyone's on mute.
Except me.
I wasn't,
Right.
but now I'm.
Yeah,
now
there we go.
I
There's
am.
chocolate. I knew it was coming.
Come on, John. That's how we say
plug.
hi.
Shameless plug again. I'm going to scream it. Shameless plug. 2 p.m. U.S. Central, 8 p.m. UK time. Hello?
Yeah, you didn't say what.
Be here or be sphere.
Right. Let's educate people on how to plug things. Number one, where is here? Here is the quantum eraser channel. The time, yes, we've got that. Right, 2 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. UK. Be here or be sphere. Here being the quantum eraser channel, YouTube channel.
That's right. It's Jose
Same flat
Retard,
time,
Sean
same
Bufford.
flat channel.
Oh my God.
I'm on mute for the rest of the episode.
He's playing martyrdom to drag out this plug. I know he is. He's dragging out this plug as long as possible.
Is it going to be live this time? Still premiere.
Is Chocolate in Discord? He's getting kicked.
No, he's not. No.
I can go in Discord and you can kick me from there, but now I'm still in Google, so that might not work out here.
Just for a ceremonial kicking. Yeah, do it. Make me feel better.
You want me to?
No,
give me a minute. I'm driving.
Hey, I got something for y'all to think about.
I thought you had to go.
No. You're talking about the cost-benefit analysis of voluntary drug analysis?
No, I just passed one, matter of fact, but there,
You
we all.
No, come on, play fair. No, it was mandatory. The police made him.
Are you equating drugs to being stupid?
Would we all agree that there's only one substance known to man that's in all three states of solid gas? Would we agree that water is the only substance known to man to be in all three naturally occurring?
Sure.
All right. When water evaporates, it turns into a gas, right?
Yeah.
And what does that water gas do? It only goes so high, comes back down to earth.
What, you're asking about the clouds? This should be interesting. A few of the trolls like to point out clouds. Let's see where this goes.
Well, we're talking about the hydrological system, just like you're talking about. This water turns to a gas, then it rises because of temperature, and it only goes so high, and then it turns around and turns back into water, back down to earth. Agree with that? So what is the container that's keeping this water vapor from going so high?
Good question. I don't know. Do you know?
Temperature.
Oh my God.
So we get rid of one and we get the other.
On the no pressure tour, we look forward to coming back stronger than ever, and don't let them get you down, Chemo. See y'all later.
Later, Dallas.
Oh my gosh. Nice try, Dallas.
I asked them this though. I said, how does the water stay in the cup when you got a piece of paper on the cup and you tip it upside down? To me, there's a lower pressure up top and there's a higher pressure below. So they're saying it's a higher temperature below. That doesn't, you know what I mean? It doesn't fly. You know, the classic cup water in the cup experiment.
It doesn't fly because there's a screen mesh there on the trick. That's why.
Right, but I heard someone said it was a sucking effect, and they said there was a vacuum effect, and it was preposterous to me because you reduce the pressure on one side, and then pressure comes in on the other.
Hey, Stiggy, it was just a trick. They put a piece of mesh under there to make it a magic trick.
Hey, you're going to be late for work.
I got to go.
Now,
Bye.
tell your supervisor that we gave you an excuse so you don't have to pick up as many cans today as you did yesterday. Thanks.
So anyway, I would like to hear your opinion on this rumpus situation. I know this is for some of the audience going out a bit after the fact, but nevertheless, I read your quote after watching Ranty's video, so I didn't know necessarily where he got the information from, but now I do, obviously. But what's your take on it?
What's my take on the rumpus?
Well, specifically, the amount of times he's accused you of, I think he calls it cherry picking, the correct terminology being quote mining, but nevertheless, the projection aspect that I'm hoping you'll talk about a little bit. The fact that he's constantly accusing you of this, and then here he is doing it in such an overt way.
Yeah, it was quote mining. I mean,
guys, but you're just
oh my God!
engaging in this.
I thought you were talking to me, Nathan. I'm sorry. Go ahead, let him answer.
He's a fundie. He's
But,
figures
like,
we've
why
challenged
are-
Rumpus, one of the
why are we
priests,
debate
so
show?
that
Why are we just,
automatically
like,
gets a
talking about
reaction,
two
obviously.
quote fallacies?
They've got to step in and defend the priest as quickly as possible, so we'll let him get out of the
It's
system, see how he does.
It's Mr. Reverse Reification trying to call out another fallacy.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, get it out of your system.
I'm simply asking, why are we talking for an hour on a debate show about like people committing logical fallacies on both sides? Like, you're just both pointing fingers at each other. Like, you guys have cherry-picked stuff. Rumpus obviously cherry-picked stuff. Just like saying,
That wasn't
all right,
cherry-picking.
cherry-picked things, done.
Sorry.
That wasn't cherry picking.
Oh, hold on. No. What, hold on. What you're saying is both sides accuse the other of cherry picking. And in this instance, obviously, we've gone to great trouble to really highlight how and why Rumpus, in this specific example, let's just be honest about it, fundamentalist zealot who believes he lives on a sphere, how he has lied. So, given that we have gone to that effort, could you give us an example of where we have done something similar, please?
No, because it's a complete futile argument. It doesn't matter.
So when we're calling out the other side for lying and being disingenuous, quote mining, misrepresenting people, things of that nature, like Rumpus has done in this instance, we have site-specific examples of them doing it, which we demonstrate. Whereas when they say it to us, like I've just pointed out with yourself, you have nothing to offer.
Not a damn thing.
Yes. You guys cherry-picked that entire article because you didn't read the entire article of what he's talking about when it comes to is gravity a force or not. That entire article is actually very
Really?
insightful.
I did. You know what the name of the article is? Do you even know what article we're talking about?
Hold on.
Guy?
He doesn't even know what cherry picking is.
Hold on. Chocolate's asked you if you know the name of the article. Do you?
It's like if gravity isn't a force something, then
It's a yes or no question.
Red herring.
Sorry, do you know the title of this article?
I understand the entire premise, but what I'm trying to
Red
say
The answer's
herring.
no. So he's accusing us of quote mining. He doesn't even know the title of the article. So again, yeah, we get accused of it all the time, but often and now, the person saying it probably hasn't read the article, definitely in this instance doesn't even know the title.
Nathan, you're running a soap opera right now rather than...
Oh, right, that sounds like an ad hominem
You
fallacy.
obviously don't know how to answer a question. You're trying to accuse people of shit. We're talking about an article. Do you know even the name of the article we're speaking about? Do you know?
What I'm trying to do is to get you guys to actually
Answer
have a
the
debate
question.
rather
Do you
than a
know,
soap opera.
yes or no, Mr. Meisty?
Rather than a soap opera.
All right. I guess that's a no. Thanks.
It's a no. He doesn't know the answer to it, right? And what this is in relation to is us asking him to give a specific example of cherry picking, which is what we get accused of. And he said, yeah, in this instance, you've cherry picked from that article. What article? The article he doesn't even know the name of. So what have we cherry picked?
Well,
It's not your show, RC. You know, like you don't get to form and shape and mold it into what you want. If it's going to be a soap opera for a little bit, it will be.
Okay, that's fine. Then
regardless.
don't call it a debate show then, because right now it's been an hour of soap opera.
Okay,
Well,
listen, you can have an opinion about it, but Nathan asking people to substantiate things is not soap opera whenever they do it to them. So it's like, that's ridiculous. It's not a soap opera. It's expecting the same.
No, it's like, tell me more about what he said, she said. Like, that's
if you're
a soap
talking about a debate and I just asked you a question as to what article you're talking about and you can't respond with either a yes or a no, what are you talking about? How is this a debate? You're bringing the soap opera. Why don't you just answer the question the way I asked you? Then we can move on and proceed. But you don't want to. You just don't have answers for it, right? Because you don't know what the fuck we're talking about, right?
Yeah, because he's making shit up.
There you go.
Lovely claims without actually having information about the claim. Isn't it beautiful, guys?
Yeah,
Yeah,
just like a village idiot. Just baseless assertion after baseless assertion.
Yeah, but his
right?
argument his argument is that, look, on our side, we accuse you of cherry picking, and here you are accusing us of cherry picking. It's just back and forth soap opera. And we're pointing out that no, you accuse us of it all the time with absolutely nothing to substantiate your claims. You just ad hom the crap out of us with nothing. And this is another example of it, because you haven't given us an example how we've cherry picked it. Obviously, we've got people on the panel that have read the article and know the title of it. You don't, but you're telling us how we have cherry-picked from an article you don't know. So there's no doubt in my mind whatsoever that you couldn't give us a specific example of how we've cherry-picked. But we can. So the difference here is you're projecting the fact that when you claim we have done this, we haven't. And when we claim you have done it, you have. But you want to call that a soap opera. No, it's just disingenuous liars on the Globe side of the argument versus us pointing that out and being accused of it by those very same liars.
I think it's great that you point out that Rumpus cherry-picked something, because that's crap. What
It wasn't cherry-picked, it was quote mined. You don't know you clowns don't know what you're talking about from number one, right? What is define cherry-picking and define quote mining?
I would prefer not to be on a soap opera, no.
Yeah, well, there you go. There's your answer. They don't know what they're talking about.
He's basically asking to hold on. Is he asking for his route out? Do you want me to server mute you and server deafen you? Then is that what you're asking for? You're saying you don't want a part of this?
I'm saying move on to the debate.
This is my show. I will decide what happens. We're discussing the fact that we get constantly accused of things like cherry picking. Meanwhile, when we point out a specific example of quote mining, yeah, that's apparently tit for tat, even though your examples don't come with any demonstrations at all.
No, Nathan, I said good job for calling out the quote mining. That's dumb. They shouldn't do it.
You spent 10 minutes calling this a soap opera.
Yes.
The show opens with housekeeping. The show opens with questions of debate.
Yeah.
That's how it opens.
I understand that. What I'm trying to say is that you guys have spent an hour talking about it. Yeah.
We're going to spend more. 4 more hours.
Any rational person can see that.
You realize because we had one of your fellow Globers on here defending Rumpus, right? When we tried to get him to admit that his man just lied to him and all his other people, but he will defend that.
Right. And I love to talk an hour about this shit because at least it's not talking about gas pressure again, you know?
don't even say it.
Okay, with that, I'll say if you do want to watch the continuation of this conversation, you will have to tune in probably on Thursday to the Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering stream for 4 more hours. A massive thank you to all of today's debating panel for making this debate possible, and of course, a massive thank you to all of you in the live audience for tuning in, hopefully sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. As I say, stay tuned if you are watching on Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Yeah, we're here.
I gotta ask you something. Nathan, you gotta put this in your next house cleaning if you can hear me. Any proof of perspective?
House cleaning.
Hold on, let me ask. Any evidence of
Hold
what?
on. Any proof? Any evidence of perspective in a curve calculator? You know what I mean? Any curve calculators with perspective added to it? I don't know if you can add that. You don't have to, obviously.
Why should we focus on the machination and not on the world of enveloping evidence?
We answer that with the first
question. We ask for it
question.
all the time, and there
We
is
answer
no
that
curve
with the
calculator
first
with
question, my
perspective
friend.
added to it.
Is there any Earth curve?
That's the problem.
Correct. That's this summed up in the first question. So, yeah, you're
Okay.
right. But it's any evidence of Earth curve, and then typically someone would hear that and go, well, of course. And then, you know, if they're not familiar with the show, they come along with their photograph of something obscured from the bottom up and say, look, I can calculate exactly how much Earth curves obscured this, right? So it's kind of leading when we say any evidence of
Well,
Earth
kind of
curve.
put that in there with it just to show that, look, guys, there's no, you got to put the perspective in there, because then you could get 2 points in one right there.
Sure, I don't mind adding
Nah,
it here
but
and there. No worries.
I get what you mean, but at that point, when they're asserting that, that's when we get them, because it's like, how did you get that curve calculator? Like, what do you have in that calculator?
Yeah,
I feel
that's
you.
the
R
base.
Nice
value?
surprise.
What?
I feel you.
You know?
Did you say Earth curve calculator?
Yeah, begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking, Earth curve calculator.
Yeah. So you're gonna get curved no matter what. So let's prove that
let me
curve
ask a
first before we even use
I
that
think
thing.
we're
That's
across chocolate. We're
why they
across
don't bring it
purposes,
here
'cause our motivation, as we rub our hands together and laugh, is that we want to ensnare the globe heads into asserting that they've got proof of Earth curve, and then using their begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking, Earth curve calculator. The chap on Discord's trying to say, well, me as an audience member or potential audience members would just prefer to know that they don't have perspective in the calculations right off the bat every day. But, you know, yeah, maybe once in a while I will point that out, but, you know, it's kind of letting the rabbit out of the hat for the debate. Right. And overall, we don't want that. I don't want them to prove that they've got perspective included in their model. I couldn't care less about what they do with their model, so I don't want evidence of that. Is the real truth. I would like them to demonstrate Earth curve, though. Problem is they only demonstrate it with a begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking curve calculator. So, yeah.
I think
Yeah, I feel
R.C. Maisty was projecting soap operas on us there. That's why I wanted to hold his
He was
speech.
causing one and then claiming we did it, in the same way he's saying it's tit for tat, because whenever we catch them doing it, they claim, you do this all the time, and what they mean is, we've accused you of this at nausea. That's what they mean.
But yeah, let me just introduce a different angle onto the rumpus thing. One of the comments on Ranty's video, or underneath Ranty's video, said words to the effect of, "Don't worry, Rumpus, why don't you appeal the decision of the lower court and go to the Court of Appeal with somebody like Sean Hufford, for example?" And I challenged him and I said, yeah, why don't you do that? Let's see if Sean Hufford will defend this nonsense. Now, pushing it another logical step forward, let's just suppose that they did do that and they went to Sean Hufford to see if he would support him, right? The other main criticism that we get is that we turn everything into a semantic argument. The only way that Sean's going to be able to create an angle with that citation that Rumpus has basically hacked up is to come up with an angle based on semantics. Now, I don't actually think there's one there, but there might be one there. But can you then imagine how they have to get out of it with a semantic argument to do with some kind of obscure interpretation of one word in it, right? Again, that'll be another example where they criticize us for being semantics, but to get Rumpus out of the shit that he's in, they're going to have to be semantic themselves, but be dishonest with it when they do it. It's glorious.
I like that you're looking for that 1 in a million angle that they might be able to take it. I mean, what they're going to argue the semantics of? The word not a force. well, no, that means
they did and already, so we've covered that.
They've done and, so they might be able to do not.
I haven't seen you wield the sword of replaced. I'm not going to give you any more lead. I know you know what I mean.
Yeah. It's just, can you imagine though, right? The criticisms that they give us, they do the exact things that they criticize us of. It's just nonsense.
That's how they get away with it. It's part of it's like there's a play-by-play book. Constantly accuse your enemy of that which you do wrong.
It's Hillary Clinton. The Hillary Clinton Academy of Incoherence. Yeah, but you often do it before. It's preemptive strike.
What? No.
Yeah. He lied the whole time. Why are you guys just focusing on the one I pulled out? Everything he said was a lie. Everything. Do you want me to go through the whole damn thing?
Are you quoting her?
Do a show on
again?
Are you quoting Hillary Clinton?
Don't go quote mining on us.
Are you? What are you doing at the moment? Are you quoting Rumpus, or talking about Rumpus, or talking about Hillary Clinton, or quoting Hillary Clinton? I'm totally lost.
What the hell are you talking about?
He's about to rip.
He was saying that's the Hillary Clinton strategy.
I'm having a Shrooman cough medicine flashback. What's going on?
What Hillary? Okay, I was just.
Sorry.
Oh my
John,
God.
Sorry, John. Let me just ask: if you're getting close to the point where you're about to monetize your channels, so you can do live streaming or whatever the threshold is, it might be worth considering making this the first show. If you're not miles away, maybe not. But I was just saying, consider that option.
This
But
my first
take
show.
some time before they approve.
Already
it.
had his first live show. There's another one on Saturday. Ballbusters, Be Here or Be Sphere on the Quantum
Yeah.
Eraser YouTube channel. 8 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. UK. No, the other way around.
And it's oh my god. And it's on Gravity.
Shush. I'm plugging your show. 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. UK on Saturday. This goes out on Thursday, so that's Friday, Saturday. It's 3 days from now.
Woohoo.
I'm definitely going to be there for that one.
So,
And the
are we
subject
going-
is gravity.
What? Chocolate?
Oh, so we're going
Hey, John,
to
do you ever
dig
invite,
up
like,
gravity
the
from the
big
grave
honchos,
and
like,
rebury it?
Professor Dave? Have you ever invited Professor Dave or like just the gurus, the main gurus, or Vsauce or anybody, just for fun, just to see if they'll come, or like just to get attention, you know?
All are welcome. I mean, no, because do I want to debate the guy? What's the first guy you said? We toe tagged him.
Professor
Dave.
Professor Dave. Right.
Professor David.
Right. Now, Anthony was interested in some of these characters. He recently did a guy called AB Science. You know, Anthony's got that kind of tendency that he wants to go out and challenge these people. Me, I've opened my doors. I'm lazy. I'll sit here and let them come to me if they want to. Most of the time they come and...
No, they know it. They know. Sorry
on.
to interrupt you. They know of you, dude. They have to know of you.
I would love Vsauce to show up over here.
But I see Vsauce as a... why? I don't see Vsauce as a globehead. Professor Dave, definitely. Right, but Vsauce...
No, Vsauce is a globehead. He does that whole corkscrew belief. He thinks the Earth and everything's going around the sun in a corkscrew motion.
No, he's not just a globehead.
No, that's not a globehead. That's not a globehead. That's an
The guy
educated-
is a full-on indoctrinator. Professional.
Yeah, he's one of their priests.
No.
He's like a lower.
Well, yeah,
he's
okay,
like a lower priest.
if you like, he's an educated normie, but he's not a globehead. There's a difference. Professor
So you don't
Dave's a
think he's
globehead.
intentionally... But you don't think he's intentionally... Like, if he were to get put on the spot and say, talk about the heliocentric model, he would defend it like they do.
Yeah, of course he
I
would.
think he would.
But that's what any
No
normie would, and he's a normie with a greater degree of quote unquote education in that model. So is he going to defend the rhetoric? Yeah, but that doesn't mean he's a globehead. I see a globehead as someone like Professor Dave, who's in this arena challenging
Or
flat earthers.
Simon Daniel.
Yeah, or Simon Dan. They're ones that the chances of Vsauce actually having come across the information that we put out, I would say, is very slim. Professor Dave, on the other hand, definitely
I think
knows
you're
it
wrong
and
in
hand
this
waves
case,
it.
Nathan. I think he is pretty damn informed, and he knows how he's tricking his audience. He knows.
How do
what
you
he's
know?
doing.
Yeah, what if he came out with the...
Because I can read him.
He came out with a rebuttal.
Every video he makes is just perfectly attuned to hypnotize. I get a headache from watching.
That may be the case, but ultimately speaking, I consider the Vsauce guy as just your average normie. Yeah, he knows a lot about what he's talking about, but that doesn't make him a globehead.
So would you then consider, if you do a rebuttal, then you are considered maybe I call him an oblate spheroider. Because they just roid over this oblateness.
A globehead to me is somebody who has definitely come across the information that we're putting out. So Professor Dave, is it? I'm pretty sure he's come across this information that we're punting. But he's got to hand wave it, because he's not got an answer for it. Do you think Professor Dave's got an answer to all the housekeeping questions? Hell no. Of course he hasn't. But do you think the guy from Vsauce has even come across housekeeping questions? I don't think so.
I think he's watched it, dude. I really do. I think these guys have watched
This guy is like...
I mean, Eddie Bravo saw it. I mean, yeah, I think you're bigger than what is portrayed sometimes on the subject. Who gives a crap on the subject?
He has it. He wants to make it his business to be on the edge of things. Yes.
That's something I can talk to with a YouTube hat on. Definitely not. So when you're a subscriber, so anybody watching this now, so you'll be watching this on Nathan Oakley 1980, you feel like, well, that's what you're taking part in. Like watching a television show. So therefore, obviously, lots and lots and lots of other people are watching it along with you. That's kind of introverted. By the same token, that's just human nature. That's how people think. Oh, well, obviously, if I'm doing it, lots of other people are doing it. Well, no, unfortunately not. I'm a very small channel. So is Vsauce watching? No.
Right, you have to believe that, obviously. But I'm going under the impression that he definitely has. He's at least seen you.
He definitely has. Yeah, he definitely has. I agree.
This
much,
all
much
this
bigger.
stuff is being
If
forwarded.
Professor David,
Divining
David's
people's
in that whole
thoughts. This is
connection,
bad.
that's my.
Right, guys. Right. We don't know.
You're
right?
blushing and we can't see. I know.
Well, it's just we're divining people's thoughts, so it just looks
No,
bad.
no, Nathan, you can make out these things. If they're not keeping track, then you will notice by them in a very late term bringing up very primitive arguments without having them polished enough. You know when you got an actual noob, when they're not informed. He won't
He's
get caught
informed.
doing that shit.
I'm not saying he's misinformed or wrong or any of those things. I'm saying he's an educated normie. So he's going to think everything he's saying is right. He's going to potentially research it thoroughly enough to go to camera and talk about it. But does that mean that he's hand waved people pointing out that space is a second law of thermodynamics violation? Probably not. So he's just a normie. But if if he came across this information, so you see Vsauce rolling by in the chat, and we're talking about that subject, and he just hand waves it, well, yeah, it's immediate transition into globehead territory. He becomes a fundamentalist zealot.
But he won't need to do that. That's the whole thing. People that hand wave, they're just incompetent. So they get in a corner, they get caught in a corner, and then are forced to do that nonsense. He won't be caught doing that because he has entire festivals of red herrings where he can go, and he just won't get caught in that spot.
He makes flat Earth debunk videos, hasn't he?
Yeah. Again,
I've seen one or two
what I'm
from
saying.
him.
This guy really knows his stuff.
Doesn't matter. The point is in regards to being a zealot or a fundamentalist. Well, yeah, he's expressing his understanding of the world he believes he actually lives in. Well, it may or may not be the case that he's come across the contrary opinion and hand-waved it, like Professor Dave, like the Rumpus, like George Netanyahu, like any of the people that we battle daily who hand-wave the winning arguments they come across, or rumpus them, or don't let them reach the audience. Well, that's zealotry. Well, I've not seen Vsauce guy exhibit any of that behaviour. Would he? Maybe, if he was put in a corner by us, and then he's got a choice to make, should that happen. But at this stage, he's just an educated normie.
He's gonna. I think he's gonna have to address it. I think the bigger guys are gonna have to address it, and it would be so much fun to just the first question you ask them, "Hey, any proof of a vacuum next to a container or next to a pressurized system without a container?" First question, besides an oblate spheroid, in your mind, because that's the only thing that can happen is an oblate spheroid can do that. But anything else, I don't know if they can answer.
They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. They're not going to stand toe to toe and address that. They're not that stupid.
No, they can't. There's no way, because that's the only thing they have. The only proof of a containerless pressure system is an oblate spheroid in space. That's it. In their mind.
This brings us full circle to Rumpus. So you're right. Quantum Eraser is correct when he asserts they're never going to let someone like Neil deGrasse Tyson, or in this case Vsauce guy, go toe to toe with us to put them in that position. That's not going to happen. What they need is faceless nobodies like the Rumpus to do it, where they can lie, cheat, play dirty, use obfuscation tactics and debating tactics to get around awkward questions. That's what you need. Foot soldiers. That's what Rumpus is, a little foot soldier. So when you're in the trenches, which is where we are, we're not above ground with all the normies talking about this, we're in the trenches. Well, you don't get Vsauce guy to come down the trenches and then find he's suddenly turned to the dark side of flat Earth because he realises he can't hand wave the arguments. No, just don't let those people in that position. Get a nobody to do it. Get Rumpus to do it. That's why
they don't understand. We're coming out of the trenches, so we're coming at the door anyway. So it doesn't matter.
We are.
If they're not going to come down, we're going to come up.
How are we doing that? How are we doing that?
Metaphorically, how are we coming out of the trenches?
We're doing it every day. Every day, you're the Flat Earth debate shows on is another day where people address and they're like, God, they're still talking about this. Like, what the hell do we have to do to get them to shut up? We've put out their minions, those don't work. We've put out propaganda, that doesn't work. We're putting out space movies, still doesn't work. What do we do? They can't figure it out. So that's why I think eventually it's going to happen where one of the big wigs is going to have to address it. And You know, I don't know how it's going to be done, but
No, they're already having an alternative strategy, and that is to replace us with a lot of really dumb flat Earth videos and then put them on top of the line. That's their new strategy. It's been going for a while.
Shout out to
It's not
David
preventing us
Dallason's
from
first.
doing what we do, but yeah, it's harder to find good flat earthers that way.
Shout out retracted.
What I'd say about it
romantic
is,
on
what I'd have to say about it is, recently,
God.
what
I
Anthony
forgot I was
Riley
talking.
brought forward
I should have let
about
other people. Go ahead. You could just talk over me.
So I saw you didn't know you were talking, Quantum Eraser.
That's why
You
I
can
got
talk,
my.
I'll talk
I'm
in a
gonna get
minute.
my own show.
Thanks.
Just have my own channel, right?
Right? Arwen said
Okay,
thank you.
I'll make it quick then.
Another plug. Another plug.
Have the own channel, the Quantum Eraser channel.
But it only works if you really go live, though.
I can't wait to be live on your channel so I can interrupt you.
Yeah.
You ain't coming on.
Yeah, Saturday.
Where's my invite?
Saturday, Chocolate will be there, so will Arwen.
Yeah.
Gotta obey the rules though.
Who's Arwen?
You get the briefing, which you had once and then ignored. I seem to remember.
Who's Arwen? Who's Chocolate?
Who's Arwen? Who's Chocolate?
I've never heard of those people's names in my life.
They're both ballbusters.
Now you're lying. I caught you in a lie, John. I finally caught you.
Don't take the bait. Don't take the bait.
Just kidding.
Hold on, let's get back on track. Weren't you about to make a point before you shamelessly plugged your channel? Because you were interrupted by Brian, who also wants to make a point.
Yeah, you were saying that you were in a shroom-induced coma or something. You had some questions on my statement about Hillary Clinton.
Yes, so you were talking about Hillary Clinton and saying that she projects that which she is doing wrong onto her opponent, and then you started saying everything he said was a lie. Literally everything he said was a lie. And I was like, are these Hillary Clinton quotes? I just lost track of what the context was. So I asked you, are they Hillary Clinton quotes? And you were like, what? What about Hillary Clinton?
No, they're not Hillary Clinton quotes. I was just saying that is a tactic she always employed. It was more of a preemptive strike because she knew she was guilty of the same thing that the other person was going to charge her with, but she would preemptive strike it and charge the other person with what she was doing. And then I stopped, period, and then moved on because somebody mentioned the rumpus. And then I asked, well, what's the big deal about the one citation I caught him on? That's not a big deal. He lied. Everything he said during that show, I had it on in the background, was an outright lie. If you're a flat earther and you listen to that and you didn't catch every single lie, which there were many, then I would say this is what I would do is go look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself why you're out here. How about that?
Well, I would stop counting eventually because,
well,
with
isn't that from the
book,
book,
it's like a
Tacticals of a
lifetime
Radical
job
or
to
something
just
like
keep
that?
counting.
Why was I the only one to identify it? Why? Tell me.
What, in 8 hours?
Say again?
In 8 hours? Why were you there? I watched it and then went to bed, woke up and found your quote.
I'm not following.
You're saying, why am I the only person to have identified this? Well, yeah, while I was watching it, undoubtedly, although I can't remember exactly what I was thinking, probably about food. But nevertheless, I'm sure at various points I rolled my eyes and went, bloody liar. Because, yeah, I absolutely identified that he was lying throughout. But did I immediately do something about it? No, I went to bed and then woke up and you'd done something about it, which is excellent. But you're now saying, why didn't everyone? Well, me, because I went to sleep. Sorry.
Yeah, it was midnight, John.
Well, you're still lying.
Watch it.
Good point.
And the other thing is, I wanted to question what he was saying about gravity right at the start when he was talking about electromagnetic whatevers. Because Ranty said that I might have misunderstood or misheard something that he'd said. Never heard Rumpus.
No, he was just equivocating. That was all he was doing.
What did you think?
Yeah, well, why did... But go ahead. Sorry.
John, what did you think about Rumpus's recital of gravity when he was referencing electromagnetic forces at the start? I've never heard him say anything like that before. Have you?
It wouldn't matter. Why would you bring up electrostatics or electromagnetism when the subject is about gravity? It's a red herring.
No, it was an equivocation.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I wanted to know what I misheard.
No. He equivocated by saying, he even announced it. He said, we have two different meanings. How many times have I got to tell you that, Anthony? He just announced an equivocation fallacy, folks.
Sorry, I just mistakenly used the wrong word. That is another fallacy he fell victim of. Yes, what I meant was he needed it to make a false equivalent, not an equivocation. My bad.
Yeah, so there should have been an objection immediately. Why didn't the judge? Well, if it was a court, I don't know how courtrooms work in England. The judge isn't going to object. The prosecuting attorney is going to object. As soon as the person commits a logical fallacy, objection. It's fallacious reasoning. You can't use that in a court. And then he lied. A purposeful fraud. Right? He's done this before with the same citation. He's done this on Jose's channel before. I've seen it weeks ago. I identified it then and then moved on to other things. And then he did the same thing again. And everyone's saying, we got him now. You caught him now? He's been lying since the beginning. Just wait. Okay, go ahead.
Isn't it funny how when we pick them up on something, it's almost like the ballers get sent in. It's as if there's like the queen ant has released a scent and all the worker ants have come in reacting to the scent to attack. No matter what the topic is, they'll come in to attack, and it's just almost as if it's by design.
It's reflex-based. It's reflex-based tribal behavior.
Yes.
So once somebody gets cornered, everybody goes, ooga, 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 ooga.
Yeah, exactly. Dawn was behaving in a tribal-like manner when he came in to basically project the misdeeds of Rumpus onto us. You lot lie. It's like, what? You recognise that he lies, but you immediately want to just project that all over us. And he did it 12 times.
Wait, so Rumpus has used this very same citation before?
With Anthony on Jose's channel.
The one that's called "If Gravity is Not a Force."
It's the Joyland Bloomfield. He did it right on Jose's channel. They had the whole document up when Rumpus read what he read yesterday on Ranty's channel. He did the same thing on Jose's. He read the same thing and stopped right before, however, it isn't a force. It was right there on the screen. I'm sitting there. Are you kidding me? No one called him out. They just let him go.
Gravity is not an apparent force, but you can think of it as an apparent force.
Yeah, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about overt fraud and deceit, intentional deceit. But I can't say it's intentional. I don't know. It was right on the screen.
Yeah, it's literally the last paragraph. It's the summary of the entire article.
Yes, it was right on Jose's
And it's only
screen.
two sentences, and he only said one.
Oh my God. He didn't do that yesterday. He just plucked the first sentence out. But on Jose's show, they pulled up the whole article. It was right there, and then he stopped right at the period before. However, it isn't a force, but it was right there on the screen. Anyone that was looking at it, I don't know. I don't use my phone to do this, so I'm looking on a computer. He pulled the document, and I'm looking at it and laughing.
It's because the hidden in plain sight.
The Baltards didn't call him out. I knew they wouldn't. I mean, let's get back to the entire courtroom drama here. He lied with everything he said. Everything. Do we have to go back into this and I'll pull out every single one? Do I have to do that?
The problem is that Rumpus is a nobody.
Yeah, but to them, he's a somebody.
We made up a word after him.
What word?
It's just
Rumpusing.
very annoying. That's all.
I don't know if it's. I don't know. You're saying it is important because the Baltards, believe in him, but the reaction from the Baltards, if that's who you're appealing to, will just be the same reaction as ever. Their fundamentalist zealotry gets the best of them, and they say, "You're the liar." Dawn did it on the show. That's the reaction from their side.
Yeah, of course it is. That's okay. I don't care. I'm not here to convince Baltards of their religious zealotry. I could care less. That's not my mission here. My mission here is to expose them to rational thinking.
I agree that with quantum arrays, we're too used to just listening to their lies, just accepting it. They just take it as the norm.
Well, just wait. Hold on. Just hold on for a few. When my channel gets fully operational, that we're going to hold the quantum eraser rumpus debate from 2016. 2 weeks after I realized the Earth's flat, I come out here bumbling and stumbling through YouTube. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And I ran into the rumpus, right? And it was a 2.5 hour debate with Paper Explanator as the moderator, right? I'm going to run this on my channel. 2 weeks after I got out here, you tell me after you're done listening to this, how Rumpus could even show his face again.
Whoa.
That's all I got to say.
He's here to do the same thing over and over again. The lack of humility means nothing because that seems like it's his purpose. Because in the face of being proven incorrect, demonstrably wrong, proven to be a liar, he'll just do it next week. That seems to be his purpose.
That's pretty creepy, John. Did you know about Paper Explanator? What happened to him?
No.
He committed suicide.
No way.
Just 2 weeks ago, yes.
2 weeks ago?
Yeah, like the 4th August.
Wow. Why do we keep hearing so many...
I'm like hearing the name, it's like, what?
These reports are getting more and more closer together of hearing about globeheads being extremely depressed, now suicidal. What gives? Why is there so many depressed, sleepless globeheads? Cognitive dissonance, man. Harsh punishment for them, if you ask me. Can't be much fun being a globehead.
Kind of sad.
Yeah,
sad to hear.
Kind of sad. Anyway, life's pretty sweet here.
Nathan.
On Flat Earth, life is sweet. Seriously, I don't lose a wink of sleep. I've got 2 kids and I still sleep well.
Right, that's true.
I just remember
it does
back
feel
in the
good on
day,
Flat Earth.
Just started the channel, and this guy whose name eludes me now got in touch and just phoned me up on Google Plus, and it's like a phone call, right? So back in the day, I'd only just started using this stuff, and the guy just rings me up, and I answered. I'm like, "Hello." It's like, "I didn't expect you to answer." I'm like, "Why the hell did you call me then?" I wasn't going to answer. So I answered the call to him, and he starts telling me about his Flat Earth story. And this guy's an ex-drug addict, and he's explaining that over the course of a long period of time, he's dumped all the drugs and all the rest of it, and he's now getting on with his life, but couldn't get sleep, and didn't know why, but continued to take sleeping tablets to actually get some sleep. And he explained that after coming to Flat Earth, he no longer needed the sleeping tablets. He could actually sleep, and he showed me. He was like, "Here's the old sleeping tablets," and he chucked, ceremoniously chucked them over his shoulder. And said, "I don't need these anymore." It gives me goosebumps just telling this story because he was on camera when he did this. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. And, he and I talked for a couple of hours about exactly this, about the fact that it's like a load off, for the amount of time I was traveling and looking out at the horizon, hell be it for anybody who gives me shit about this in the comments, but looking out at the horizon and going, I want to see further, I want to go higher, I want to be off this commercial jet and onto whatever would take me to a higher altitude so I can see the curve. In other words, definitely aware that I couldn't see any curvature. Nothing appeared to be curving. Now, because I knew the rhetoric, I was like I've charged Vsauce dude with being a reasonably educated normie. Doesn't mean I was a fundamentalist zealot, waving in the face of flat earthers telling me about how gas pressure can't exist next to a vacuum. I wasn't that. I was just a guy who understood that you couldn't see curve from cruising altitude on an aeroplane. So I'm saying I want to go higher, I want to see higher, but it just grated. And then you find this information out and suddenly it's like a relief. And he was describing exactly that, the feeling of relief that you get when you go, oh, it makes sense now. Suddenly things that don't, me back when I was a kid swinging a bucket round after having the explanation of gravity and going, this makes no sense. The water's going out towards the top of the bucket when I swing it round in a circle. How does this make it? You put it to the back of your mind, but it grates there. It doesn't go away. So this flat Earth, finding out the lie of heliocentrism, is a massive relief. And I understand or can empathise with the globeheads who have chosen to fight against it, the ones I call globeheads, because it's going to cause pain. Well, I genuinely don't wish that on my worst enemy. But, Conspiracy Cat, shout out to him again. Go and check out his interview on Haunted House channel, where he describes in detail how this is affecting him mentally. He's describing how he's losing sleep and how he'd have to contemplate all of the lies that go along as a consequence of realising that you've been lied to about the nature of the Earth that you dwell atop. Well, that's not very good if you're fighting against it and denying things that are provably making your point incorrect, which is, like I say, what I call a globehead. Well, those people and the amount of frequency that I hear describe to me the effects of depression in that particular very small community, anti-flat earthers or globeheads, is, like I say, getting more and more frequent. And now we hear Paper Explanator. How have you validated this story, by the way, Arwin, before we start eulogising about
not
Paper
100%, but there were confirmed people that I have no reason to distrust that said it in my chat a few days ago that they heard that. So I haven't I don't even know how to find the guy, but I didn't think it was a joke of any kind.
Well, if it is the case, obviously rest in peace, whoever you may be, Paper Explanator. Not that I know your real name, but nobody wants that. For whatever reason, it may or may not be related to the fact that he's stuck in cognitive dissonance in regards to the argument about the shape of the Earth, nature of Earth.
Right. Could be.
And the biggest lie that's been parroted over the past, it's just been recent and it's starting to gain steam, that Einstein's equations reduced to Newtonian mechanics or Newton's equation.
Yeah, I picked up on that. I did pay
Flat
attention
earthers.
to all the lies. I was like, I'd like to see that happen. And I think afterwards he said words to the effect of, "You're just too stupid to understand how it's done." It's like, oh yeah, all right, Rumpus, take us through it then. Take us through how pseudo-Ramonian 4 space breaks down into Euclidean 3 space. You just show us that mathematics, please. That very complicated mathematics that you said Anthony wouldn't understand. I'm sure you could put it on paper for us, couldn't you, Rumpus?
Yes. Force them whenever you hear it, because they're just mindlessly parroting this nonsense, right? Next time you hear this, flat earthers, listen up. Maybe do some due diligence and find out what Einstein's field equations are, right? Maybe do that. And then force their hand, hold their feet to the fire, show me, step by step. Right?
Yeah, show me 4 space going into 3 space. You square that circle for me, sunshine. You show me the maths. You show how complicated that maths is and how it's commonplace now. Right, Rumpus? Right? No, definitely not. Completely different geometry.
There might be a misinterpretation issue here, though, guys, because when I've heard them say that and I've challenged it, and I give the 3 space over 4 space explanation that you've just given, what they say is it reduces down to it because it gives the same effect. So then I say, okay, so if 1 + 3 equals 4 and 2 + 2 equals 4, the fact that you get the same answer doesn't mean that you're getting the right maths. Just because it describes the same answer isn't the same as saying that it reduces down to. What they're effectively saying is they both give the same results, therefore they're both the same. And I'm like, no, that's completely bullshit.
Well,
so it depends on how they're interpreting that phrase.
That's not true also.
Nope.
That's not true also. So, no, they're not describing the same effect. No, on the contrary. In regards to gravity, one is describing mass attracting mass. That would be in the 3-dimensional world, the Cavendish Reverend John Mitchell version of gravity. Right, well, that particular version is mass attracting mass. That's the effect that's being described. Well, Einstein's not describing that effect. They're not reducing down to the same effect, because they're not the same effect. The bending of a conceptual medium known as space-time is definitely not the same as mass attracting mass. They are very, very different things. So to say that one reduces down into the other because they are describing the same effect is horseshit. But moreover, that's not the point. They're saying that the mathematics can be translatable from one to the other. We want to see that. Yes, show me. Oh, I'm too stupid. No. Well, let's just see it happen first before we decide I'm too stupid to understand it. Let's see you do it. Let's not worry about my comprehension of what you're about to do and cannot do and will never do because it can't be done because they're different geometry.
Precisely. There's an easy answer to this. There's about 5 easy answers to this question. Tune in to Ballbusters, right? We'll go over a little bit. I ain't going to give the whole game away. But if you can't catch on real quick as to why that's utter insanity, bollocks, then it's time to look in the mirror and ask yourself why you're out here. Nothing wrong with being a flat earther. I'm talking about why you're out here in this discussion.
Yeah, I was going to give clarity to that earlier, actually, which is to say, yeah, it doesn't matter, you can be a flat earther and fine, but when you step into this arena and start making up nonsense, or you don't understand how the argument's going to take place, and suddenly you're in front of someone like Rumpus, representing me, and not knowing the answer to his bullshit that he puts to you, you're in the wrong place.
Precisely.
I talked to John about this earlier, and I'll just bring it up and make it just as a side note. But they are going to start using false equivalencies to argue for why gas particles fall back down. And I got into that with Zanuck the other day, saying a ball is the same as the gas particle, and that's why they both fall back down. False equivalency. That's going to start happening as well.
Oh, right.
So don't have to bring gravity at all.
So where you use the racquetball or squash example with the ball being imparted with energy, or more energy being imparted to make it bounce off more than one wall, the end result of that very small, very specific analogy being drawn when describing gas behaviour, you're saying that they take that as to mean that because the solid that's currently in a gas reaches equilibrium on the ground, that the gas will also do the same thing. Is that what you're saying they say?
That's where they're going to go, because that's where Zanuck was going with Truth Lover on the Discord
Anthony,
server. They were using it.
Mute, please. Thank you.
Do what?
No, Anthony was causing some background noise. Go ahead, Paul. Sorry to interrupt.
Hello, Paul, by the way.
Oh, no.
Good to have you.
No. Well, and John, I talked to John about it, but I mean, the way gas operates is very different than a solid or a liquid operate. And even Zanuck was trying to say it's fluid. They're trying to use that as a argument too. So I'm going like, okay. But I think we're going to start seeing that as well. They're going to remove the term gravity and just say things fall down. So does a gas particle, it falls down too.
Things fall down, go boom, boom, go splash, splash.
Right. Yeah, gas doesn't fall down.
But my
these
question
people,
is...
Go on.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was
No,
just
go
going to
on.
say, these people deny the behaviour of gas. That's the problem. We've had it from our side with David Dallas and Spurs Chemo, and it seems like that will continue through their side. Mainly because as a test bench, it seems that the only thing that's actually been achieved in the last 6.5 weeks is Spurs Chemo proving what a great obfuscation it is to assert that gas pressure isn't real, or that it does something that's fundamentally flying in the face of how gas behaviour works. So if we have suddenly got fundamentalist religious zealots asserting that gas goes down, go boom boom, then we'll just laugh, because it's not the case, and it means they don't understand how gas works.
And I was clear when I brought up the racquetball example. I said, this is just an analogy. I knew people would take it too far. I knew that.
But the problem I have is most of the answers to these arguments have been put out there since 2015. Most of the answers. And what I do, I peruse. I'm not listening to flat. This is my new policy. I can't listen to flat earthers anymore. I can't do it. I get so aggravated listening to them that I just can't. I can't do it. I can't do it anymore because the answers to these inane questions, I mean, and they're inane, or their inane claims, have been out there since 2015. They are out there. Go get the answers to the questions and just study them and make them your own. That's all I ask.
People can't do it.
Can I say something that? Sorry, Nathan. You want to
Not all flat earthers are lazy, though.
Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I just want to say, just on the back of what Quantum Eraser said, what I found happened to me was I went on to the Jose show because this show was too crowded. Some while back, I went on to Jose show a couple of times, and what happened was I was presented with, by the Globe side on his show, presented with photos from space. Now, besides the whole argument about the gas pressure, they were saying, explain this, explain that, and things to do with space. And I had all the answers for these back in 2015, 2016. But because the arguments have moved on so much, that when I wasn't presented with a photograph or any speak about anything to do with space for 2 years from the Globe side. So when it was presented to me again after 2 years, I couldn't remember all the arguments. And I just was
I got the remedy. I got the cure.
Me too.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Nathan.
Okay.
What's your cure?
My cure is you really don't need to know any of their arguments. You just have to ask one question. Where were these pictures taken from again? I'll do it a bit higher pitched. Where were these pictures taken from again? Which region of where now?
That's a great technique. Do you want me to give you the winning technique?
No. Go ahead.
That's a winning technique. I'm not saying that it's not, but there's an overriding theme here that we've missed. He said that when he went on the channel, that they brought things up and asked him to explain it. Do I need to say anything more?
Do you get where he's going with that, Brian? If not, I'll expand on it.
Oh, yeah, I said that to them. I said, look, you have to explain it. I said, it's your thing. But I had nothing else. I used to have all the answers for them to crush them arguments, and I couldn't remember them. Bringing up things from 2 years ago, hoping people won't remember them. But I understand where you're going with it, because I ended up having to say that. I said, well, look, it's your thing. You have to explain it.
Right. A guy did it earlier on the show with David Dallas. So David Dallas started to assert what was happening at the North Pole, and he was like, well, are you going to prove that? And his response was, you can go away and Google it, you can check it really easily. And the guy just held him to account. He's like, no, this is your claim. You prove it.
Yeah.
What are you claiming, I think, is the question that QE is driving at. What is your claim by presenting this to me, as opposed to presenting me some random piece of footage and asking me how I explain it? Paige, big love to Paige, she's great. Go and subscribe to her too now, she's making videos. But Paige was like, hold on a second, you're asking Spurs to make a claim before he starts asking questions. That doesn't seem very reasonable. So I said, okay, Paige, explain premature sycamore pollination in the north of England. Go. Then I made, underneath that, I put another message. By the way, I just made up that fact. Go, explain it anyway.
What?
So what I'm
That's
saying
right.
is, I provide a random fact to you, Arwin. Let's pretend that we don't know each other and I just bump into you on the street. I go,
Right.
Oi, explain why sycamores in the north of England are getting pollinated prematurely. Go.
What's a sycamore?
Doesn't matter. Explain the premature pollination. Here's a picture of it being pollinated prematurely by a bumblebee. Go.
Okay, sure.
What's your explanation for it? Why is it happening, Arwin? What's your problem? Can't you explain this?
I wouldn't go into this.
Can't you explain this? Can't you explain this, Arwin?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, you should explain it. I'm demanding that you explain it. I've shown you the picture. I've told you the problem. Now explain it. Go.
What's the answer now?
Give us the answer immediately. And if you don't give me the answer, global warming is real.
Oh shit. Okay.
Are you guys laughing?
Why are you laughing?
Flat Earth?
Why are you laughing?
Are you?
Why are you laughing?
Here we go again.
Why are you laughing?
Flat Earthers laughing at that?
Why are you laughing?
Guess what ballers do to you?
I
the
know.
Same thing, and you don't catch on to it, and you left bumbling
We
and
do.
fumbling,
It's just
trying
that
to
we're
give an
numbed.
explanation for some shit that they just made up, right? And if you can't answer it, well, their explanation that they haven't given is true.
Well, that's
So
only
pull
in
your
their
head
mind.
out of your
I ain't
asses
answering shit.
But
and
that's just in
challenge
their
them
minds.
and say that's not my that's not my claim. You claimed it. It's not my responsibility to explain your claim. It's your responsibility.
Right.
You make a claim, you provide support for it right now. And then after you do that, then I'll give my explanation. Until then, I'm quiet.
Right, so Spurs coming along with an upside down bottle, cup of water, with the water seemingly held in suspended animation, and he says, what's your explanation for this? What he wants is you to commit to a position on something that you've not researched, never seen before, don't have an explanation for. But he wants you to commit to a position. Now, the position that he's debunking in that instance is atmospheric pressure, and he wants you to assert that that's the cause of its suspended position upside down. Well, fortunately for us, we're too smart to commit to that position. So nobody did the long silences with Spurs going, oh, so no one's prepared to commit to this position that it's atmosphere holding it in, which is what he wants. But it's him making the claim. So I just went, no, what are you claiming? What does this prove or disprove? As opposed to, here's my random factoid, you explain it. It's not my claim. I don't know.
And then as soon as we figured out that there was this little filament there, then figured it out, wait, it's probably just the surface tension. That's keeping it in there.
But the point being that upon the situation being thrust upon Spurs Chemo, what's your claim? As opposed to being demanded of us to explain something that we've not seen before or don't have an explanation on the spot for, suddenly he can challenge our weak explanation. Well, if we just immediately go, well, what's this proving? What is your claim? Or what does this debunk? What are you disproving? You can see how he gets on in terms of his explanation and how weak that is. Rather than us having to challenge us having to be challenged on anything we say, we can just directly challenge him and his assertions based on his claim that when he was doing that, he wasn't making any claim. He's waiting for us to make one so he can challenge that.
Lawyer tricks.
Know your debating tactics. That'll probably round out this after show. So I will say, first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of today's debating panel, as it has been a pretty good show. Can't deny it. Also, of course, a massive thank you to all of you in the premiering stream for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum, which you should definitely all join. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!